From the cold case files inside the BAU to the haunting memories that followed them for a lifetime, Criminal Minds is not just a crime-solving show, it is the journey of people consumed by darkness. In 2005, they stepped into their roles young and full of passion, but after more than 2 decades, glory, scandals, and downward spirals have changed everything. Then and now, who is still standing? Number 1. Mandy Patinkin as Jason Gideon. He was not the loudest person in the room, but whenever he spoke, the entire world listened. Jason Gideon, the genius mind of the BAU, portrayed by Mandy Patinkin at the age of 53 in 2005, a mature age perfect for the psychological depth the role required. In the early seasons of Criminal Minds, Gideon appeared as a man obsessed with justice. He did not just solve cases, he lived inside them, feeling the victim's pain as if it were his own. From hunting serial killers to facing humanity's deepest fears, Gideon was always the center, leading the BAU with sharp intuition and rare empathy. But the deeper he went into the darkness, the more he lost himself. The peak came when Gideon left the team after a series of severe psychological traumas, leaving behind a void that could never be filled. This role stood out because it was not just about a profiler, but a man worn down by his own work. In real life, Mandy Patinkin also left the show because he felt the content was too dark, a controversial decision at the time. After Criminal Minds, he continued to succeed with Homeland, but also went through quieter periods. No major scandals, no personal controversies, but his artistic sensitivity led him to step away from the spotlight multiple times. In 2026, at 74, he remains respected as an acting icon. Jason Gideon, a genius, but also a man who could not escape the ghosts in his own mind. Number 2. Thomas Gibson as Aaron Hotchner. If Gideon was the heart, then Aaron Hotchner was the backbone of the BAUA cold. Disciplined man willing to sacrifice everything for the job. Thomas Gibson took on this role in 2005 at 43, bringing a calm exterior that concealed deep inner conflict. Hotchner did not just lead the team, he stood at the boundary between law and emotion, constantly making life or death decisions. Throughout many seasons, viewers watched him face brutal killers, but his greatest shock came from his personal life. His wife was murdered by an enemy he once pursued, turning Hotch from a husband into a single father carrying unhealable pain. His silence, cold gaze, and suppressed anger made the role unforgettable. But in real life, Thomas Gibson could not maintain the same control as his character. He was fired from Criminal Minds in 2016 after an on-set altercation, shocking fans. His career declined afterward, nearly disappearing from Hollywood. Once a symbol of discipline, he became an example of how losing control can destroy everything. In 2026, at 64, Thomas Gibson lives privately, away from the spotlight. Aaron Hotchner still stands, but the man behind him is no longer the same. Number 3. Shemar Moore as Derek Morgan. He entered the screen like a storm. Derek Morgan, a strong and charismatic man carrying a painful past, portrayed by Shemar Moore at just 35 in 2005. Morgan was not just the muscle of the BAU, he was a frontline warrior, charging into danger without hesitation. But behind that fearless exterior was a childhood marked by abuse, a wound that never healed. In the series, Morgan's journey was one of healing, from a man hiding his pain to someone who confronted and overcame his past. His confrontation with the person who destroyed his childhood became some of the most powerful moments in the series. This role stood out because it perfectly blended action and emotion, a hero, but not a perfect one. After leaving Criminal Minds in 2016, Shemar Moore continued his success with T, maintaining his status as an action star. No major scandals, though his personal life drew attention with several high-profile relationships before settling down. In 2026, at 56, he remains fit and continues to embody Hollywood masculinity. Derek Morgan was not just an agent, he proved that even the strongest people have been deeply hurt. Number 4. Matthew Gray Gubler as Dr. Spencer Reid. No one expected a skinny young man who spoke as if racing his own thoughts to become the intellectual soul of the BAU. Spencer Reid appeared in 2005 when Matthew Gray Gubler was just 25, the youngest on the team, yet possessing genius-level IQ and photographic memory. Reid was unlike anyone, socially awkward, emotionally different, yet capable of understanding the minds of the most dangerous killers. From the earliest cases, he connected clues, decoded behavior, and saved the team in seemingly hopeless situations. But his life in the show was a series of tragedies. His mother suffered from schizophrenia. He developed a painkiller addiction after injury, was kidnapped, tortured, and even wrongfully imprisoned for murder in Mexico, where he struggled to survive violence and betrayal. Prison transformed Reid from a sensitive genius into someone tougher, but colder. This role stood out because it showed intelligence cannot protect you from pain. In real life, Matthew Gray Gubler is the complete opposite: eccentric, artistic, passionate about painting and directing, with no major scandals. In 2026, at 46, he remains beloved as a quirky genius icon. Spencer Reid, a brilliant mind, but the most fragile heart in the BAU. Number 5. J. Cook as Jennifer J.J. Jareau. She was not the first to carry a gun, but she was the one who kept the team from falling apart. Jennifer J.J. Jareau joined Criminal Minds in 2005 when A.J. Cook was 27, bringing a gentle public liaison image hiding the strength of a silent warrior. At first, J.J. was the bridge between the media and horrific cases, but over time, she stepped into the field, becoming a full profiler involved in dangerous missions. Her journey was not just growth, but sacrifice. She was kidnapped, psychologically tortured, forced to hide dark secrets from a classified mission, distancing her from her own family. Her marriage to Will seemed like an anchor, but even that faced pressure as she lived 2 lives, a mother and an agent facing death daily. This role stood out because it showed strength does not always come from violence, but from silent resilience. In real life, J. Cook was written off in season 6 due to budget cuts, sparking fan outrage that forced producers to bring her back, a testament to her impact. No major scandals, stable family life, but her interrupted career remains a scar. In 2026, at 48, she continues to represent a strong yet emotional woman. JJ, the one who always smiles, even when her heart is breaking. Number 6. Kirsten Vangsness as Penelope Garcia. The only light in a world filled with darkness, Penelope Garcia did not step into crime scenes or chase criminals, but she was the one who kept the team from drowning in despair. When Kirsten Vangsness took on this role in 2005 at 33, no one expected that an eccentric tech expert who loved colors and talked non-stop would become one of the most beloved characters. Garcia was the emotional heart of the BAU. She connected data, hacked into every system, but more importantly, she connected people. However, behind that cheerful personality was a complicated past. Once an illegal hacker, arrested and recruited by the FBI, she always felt like she did not belong in this righteous world. In the show, Garcia broke down multiple times when facing brutal imagery, and was even shot and nearly killed, leading to deep psychological trauma. Her flirtatious relationship with Morgan brought humor, but also served as a rare emotional anchor. This role stood out because it broke stereotypes. A genius did not have to be cold. In real life, Kirsten Vangsness openly identified as part of the LGBTQ+ community, and went through complex relationships before finding stability. No major scandals, but her journey of self-acceptance in a judgmental industry was its own battle. In 2026, at 53, she still carries her uniqueness and positive energy. Penelope Garcia, a vibrant flower growing in dead soil. Number 7. Paget Brewster as Emily Prentiss. Emily Prentiss did not enter the BAU as a hero, she arrived as a mystery. In 2006, when Paget Brewster was 37, she joined Criminal Minds and quickly turned her character into one of the most complex profiles on the team. Prentiss was the daughter of a high-ranking diplomat, raised among political conspiracies, shaping her into a profiler both sharp and dangerous. But her past was more than diplomatic missions. It involved secrets tied to international crime, especially Ian Doyle, a man who was not just a target, but her personal nightmare. In the show, Prentiss faked her death to protect her team, disappearing from the world and living in the shadows with her identity erased a decision that shattered the team. When she returned, she was no longer the same, colder, more closed off, carrying invisible scars. This role stood out because it pushed a character to the edge of existence alive, yet as if dead. In real life, Paget Brewster was also written out and later brought back due to fan demand, mirroring her character's disappearance and return. No major scandals, but her career was shaken by production decisions. In 2026, at 57, she remains a powerful presence in the new version of Criminal Minds. Emily Prentiss, a woman who died once to continue fighting in silence. Number 8. Joe Mantegna as David Rossi. David Rossi did not chase criminals, he made criminals fear him before even meeting him. When Joe Mantegna took on the role in 2007 at 60, he brought the aura of a legend who had retired but could not escape the past. Rossi was one of the founders of the BAU, a famous author, and a man who had been married 3 times and failed all 3. In the show, he returned not for glory, but for an unresolved case that haunted him for decades. Unlike Gideon, Rossi did not let emotions control him. He was cold, practical, and sometimes ruthless, but that experience made him the team's new leader. His personal relationships, however, were a series of failures, divorces, an estranged daughter, years lost to work. This role stood out because it showed the cost of success achievement paired with loneliness. In real life, Joe Mantegna has had a more stable life, with a lasting marriage and no major scandals, though he faced the challenge of caring for a daughter with autism. In 2026, at 78, he still appears calm and authoritative. David Rossi, a man who defeated hundreds of killers but could not fix his own mistakes. Number 9. Jeanne Tripplehorn as Alex Blake. Blake did not need to shout to be heard, she only needed to speak, and others had to rethink everything. When Jeanne Tripplehorn joined Criminal Minds in 2012 at 49, she brought a completely different energy, a linguist who analyzed words instead of behavior. Behind her calmness was deep trauma. She had lost her son, a tragedy that nearly destroyed her marriage. In the show, Blake did not just decode criminals' language, she tried to understand their pain, sometimes dangerously so. There were moments when she became too immersed in a killer's psychology, losing her own direction. Without dramatic action scenes, her internal struggle became a silent war between logic and emotion, past and present. In the end, she left the BAU not because of failure, but because she realized she needed healing. This role stood out because it showed even profilers have limits. In real life, Jeanne Tripplehorn experienced complex relationships before settling down, with no major scandals, but her career became less prominent after leaving the show. In 2026, at 63, she lives privately, away from Hollywood. Alex Blake, a woman who understood the language of killers, but could not fully express her own pain. Number 10. Jennifer Love Hewitt as Kate Callahan. Kate Callahan did not come to the BAU to learn. She arrived with experience, but also with a secret that could destroy everything. In 2014, when Jennifer Love Hewitt was 35, she joined Criminal Minds as a strong woman with a background in undercover FBI work. From the beginning, Kate was different. She had a family, a husband and daughter she would give everything to protect. In the show, her past slowly unraveled, connected to a human trafficking ring and a kidnapped niece, pulling her into a deeply personal battle. Kate did not just chase criminals, she chased the fear of losing loved ones. Her decisions often crossed legal boundaries, making her unpredictable. In the end, she left the BAU not because of failure, but because she chose her family, a rare decision in that world. This role stood out because it asked a powerful question: would you choose justice or family? In real life, Jennifer Love Hewitt was once a teen icon, but her career slowed due to unsuccessful projects and media scrutiny over her image and personal life. No major scandals, but enough pressure to shift her path. In 2026, at 47, she focuses on family and selective television projects. Kate Callahan, the woman who left the darkness to keep the light for herself. Number 11. Aisha Tyler as Dr. Tara Lewis. Some people enter the BAU not to chase criminals, but to understand why humans become monsters. Tara Lewis appeared as a forensic psychologist, and when Aisha Tyler took on the role in 2015 at 45, she brought a completely different energy, sharp, logical, and at times chillingly cold. Tara did not run after crime scenes, she dissected minds, peeling back layers of a killer's thoughts like a psychological surgery. But that very work pulled her into darkness that not everyone could return from. In the series, Tara faced dangerous psychiatric patients, forcing her to question her own morality. She did not have a traumatic past like Morgan or family tragedy like JJ, but she had a broken marriage, a relationship destroyed because she devoted too much time to work, eventually losing her ability to emotionally connect. There were moments she seemed almost numb to pain, and that terrified her most. When you understand evil too well, you risk becoming like it. This role stood out because it focused on intellect over action, a profiler without a gun, armed only with understanding. In real life, Aisha Tyler went through a public divorce after more than 20 years of marriage, a major turning point that forced her to rebuild her life. No scandals, no controversies, but the emotional fracture mirrored her character, strong on the outside, cracked within. In 2026, at 55, she remains active as an actress, director, and host. Tara Lewis, the woman who sees into the minds of monsters, but must relearn how to heal herself. Number 12. Adam Rodriguez as Luke Alvez. Luke Alvez was not a typical profiler. He came not from books, but from the streets, from real manhunts where mistakes could cost lives. When Adam Rodriguez joined Criminal Minds in 2016 at 41, he brought the image of an FBI fugitive task force agent used to confronting evil head-on. In the show, Alvez was not just strong, he was skeptical, always questioning, especially toward Reid, creating internal tension. Over time, he became an essential part of the team, particularly in cases involving organized serial killers. However, his personal life was far from stable. He had failed relationships, lived in isolation, and only found balance after adopting a rescue dog as a way to hold on to his humanity. He did not face dramatic downfalls like prison or addiction, but his prolonged emotional isolation made him someone who always stood at the edge of connection. This role stood out as a representation of a new generation, practical, tough, yet vulnerable in a unique way. In real life, Adam Rodriguez has a more stable family life, married with children, no major scandals, though he had to overcome a period of career stagnation before returning with Criminal Minds. In 2026, at 51, he still maintains his strong presence, Luke Alvez, a hunter of darkness, who fears one day becoming part of it. After all the cases, the tears, and the lost souls, they were not just actors, and not just characters. They were fragments of a television era that can never be recreated. Back then, it was brilliant, and now each of them carries a different fate.